The cargo ship moved slowly through the darkness of space. It was an old ship, not beautiful, not fast, but it worked. The name painted on its side said, "Silent Dream," in faded letters. Inside, a man sat alone in the pilot's seat, watching the stars pass by like tiny white dots on a black canvas dot. His name was Yoon Tai-ho. He was 43 years old, and he had been flying cargo ships for 15 years. His hair was starting to turn gray at the sides, and there were tired lines around his eyes. He had not shaved in many days, and his clothes were wrinkled. He did not care about these things anymore. Tai-ho was carrying machine parts from Station 9 to Colony 12. It was a 3-week journey through empty space. He liked empty space. Out here, there was no one to talk to, no one to disappoint, no one to remind him of everything he had lost. He looked at the small photograph he kept near the control panel. It showed a young girl, maybe 7 years old, smiling at the camera. Her name was Mireille. She was his daughter, but he had not seen her in 5 years. She lived on Earth with her mother, and they did not want to see him anymore. Tai-ho touched the photograph gently with his finger. Then he turned away and looked at the empty space ahead. The alarm started beeping. Tai-ho sat up straight. He looked at the scanner screen. Something was out there, moving fast, tumbling through an asteroid field about 200 kilometers away. The computer said it was small, maybe the size of a car. It was sending out a weak distress signal. An escape pod. Tai-ho's first thought was to ignore it. He was tired. He did not want problems. But then the signal came through his speakers, broken and full of static. "Help, please, anyone." It was a voice. A female voice. She sounded scared and hurt. Tai-ho closed his eyes. He could fly past. No one would know. No one would blame him. The universe was big and cruel, and people died in it every day. But he could not do it. He turned the ship toward the asteroid field. The asteroids were dangerous. Big rocks floated everywhere, spinning slowly, crashing into each other. Tai-ho had to be very careful. He moved the ship between them, avoiding the largest ones, letting the smaller ones bounce off the ship's shields. It took him 30 minutes to reach the escape pod. When he saw it, his heart sank. The pod was badly damaged. One side was crushed, and there was a hole in the metal where something had hit it. Smoke was coming out of the hole. The lights on the pod were flickering, dying. Tai-ho used the ship's mechanical arm to grab the pod. He pulled it into the cargo bay and sealed the doors. Then he ran down to see what he had found. The cargo bay was cold and dark. Tai-ho turned on his flashlight and walked toward the pod. The metal was hot to touch. He found the emergency release and pulled it. The door fell open with a loud crash. Inside, lying on the small bed, was a woman, but she was not human. Tai-ho stepped back in surprise. He had seen aliens before, of course. Everyone had. Humans had been in space for 200 years, and they had met many different species. But he had never seen one like this. Her skin was silver, like polished metal, but it looked soft like real skin. Her hair was long and white, spread around her head like a cloud. Her face was shaped like a human face, but more delicate, more perfect. She had 2 eyes, closed now, and her eyelids had a slight purple color. She was wearing a simple gray suit that was torn in several places. There was blue blood on her arm and on her forehead. She was not moving. Tai-ho checked for a pulse. He did not know where to check on an alien, so he tried her neck like he would with a human. He felt something, a slow beating under her silver skin. She was alive. He carefully lifted her out of the pod. She was lighter than a human woman her size would be. He carried her to the medical room and put her on the bed. Then he started to clean her wounds. The cut on her arm was deep but clean. Tai-ho used the medical scanner to check if the wound was infected. The scanner did not know what species she was, but it said there was no infection. He cleaned the wound with water and covered it with bandages. He did the same for the cut on her forehead. Then he sat down in the chair next to the bed and waited. He waited for a long time. The ship was quiet. The only sounds were the soft hum of the engines and the beeping of the medical machines. Taiho watched the alien woman sleep. Her chest moved up and down slowly. Sometimes her fingers twitched, like she was dreaming. He wondered who she was. Where had she come from? What had happened to her ship? Why was she alone in an escape pod in the middle of nowhere? He also wondered if he had made a mistake. Some alien species were dangerous. Some were criminals. Some carried diseases that could kill humans. But looking at her peaceful face, Taiho could not believe she was dangerous. She looked lost. She looked alone. She looked like him. After 6 hours, she opened her eyes. Taiho was half asleep in his chair when he heard her move. He looked up and saw her eyes. They were violet, a deep purple color that seemed to glow in the dim light of the medical room. She was looking at him with confusion and fear. "It is okay," Taiho said slowly. "You are safe. I found your escape pod. You were hurt, but I treated your wounds. You are on my ship now." She did not say anything. She just stared at him. Then she looked around the room, at the medical machines, at the bandages on her arm, at the door behind Taiho. "My name is Yoon Taiho," he said. "I am a cargo pilot. I am human. I'm not going to hurt you." The woman opened her mouth to speak. At first, no sound came out. Then she coughed, and her voice came, weak and rough. Where am?" "You are in the outer rim," Taiho said. "Near the asteroid field between Station 9 and Colony 12. I heard your distress signal." "You saved me," she said. It was not a question. She said it like she was trying to understand what had happened. "Yes," Taiho said. "Can you tell me your name? Where are you from? What happened to your ship?" The woman was quiet for a moment. She seemed to be thinking, deciding how much to tell him. "My name is Lyra," she finally said. "I am from a planet called Valain, very far from here. My ship was attacked by pirates. I escaped in the pod, but they damaged it before I could get away. I have been drifting for many days." "Pirates?" Taiho said. He felt anger rise in his chest. Pirates were the worst kind of people in space. They robbed and killed without mercy. "I am sorry. That must have been terrible." "It was," Lyra said. Her violet eyes filled with sadness. "Everyone on my ship. They are all gone now. I am the only one left." "I am sorry," Taiho said again. He did not know what else to say. Lyra tried to sit up, but she was too weak. She fell back on the bed with a small cry of pain. "Do not move," Taiho said. "You need to rest. Your body needs time to heal." "I cannot stay here," Lyra said. I must go somewhere safe. The pirates might come looking for me." "You are safe here," Taiho said. "This ship is small and quiet. No one pays attention to cargo ships. And we are far from any main travel routes. No one will find you here." Lyra looked at him for a long time. Her violet eyes seemed to search his face, looking for something. Taiho did not know what she was looking for, but he tried to show her that he meant what he said. "Why did you save me?" she asked. "You do not know me. You do not know what I am. Why did you risk your life to help a stranger?" Taiho thought about the question. It was a good question. He had asked himself the same thing when he turned his ship toward the asteroid field. "I do not know," he said honestly. "I heard your voice on the radio. You sounded scared. I could not just fly away and leave you to die. That is not who I am. That is not who most people are," Lyra said. "Most people would have ignored the signal. Most people do not risk themselves for strangers. Maybe, Taiho said. But I have done many things wrong in my life. I have hurt people I loved. I have made mistakes I cannot fix. But leaving someone to die when I could save them, that is something I will not do. It is the only good thing I can still do. Lyra was quiet. She looked at Taiho with a strange expression, like she was seeing him for the first time. You are a good man, Yun Taiho, she said softly. Taiho laughed, but it was a sad laugh. No, I am not. But thank you for saying so. He stood up and walked to the door. I will bring you some food and water. You need to eat to get your strength back. We have a long journey ahead of us. I will take you to Colony 12. There is a space station there where you can contact your people and find a way home. Thank you, Lyra said. Taiho stopped at the door and looked back at her. You are welcome. Now rest. Everything will be okay. He walked out of the room, leaving Lyra alone with her thoughts. In her bed, Lyra watched the door close. When she was sure Taiho was gone, she closed her eyes and let out a long breath. I found him, she whispered to no one. He is exactly what they said he would be. She touched the bandages on her arm, feeling the wound underneath. It would heal soon, faster than any human wound would heal. But Taiho did not need to know that. He did not need to know many things. Not yet. Lyra opened her eyes and looked at the ceiling. Her mission had begun. She had found Yun Taiho, the lonely human pilot with the broken heart and the empty eyes. She had found him just in time. Now she had to save him. But first, she had to let him believe he had saved her. 2 weeks passed on the silent dream. Lyra grew stronger every day. Her wounds healed quickly, faster than Taiho expected, but he did not ask questions. Different species healed at different speeds. He had heard stories of aliens who could regrow entire limbs in a matter of days. A few cuts and bruises were nothing. At first, Lyra stayed in the medical room. She was quiet and careful, watching everything Taiho did with her large violet eyes. She asked many questions about the ship, about humans, about Earth. Taiho answered them all. He liked having someone to talk to. After 5 days, Lyra started walking around the ship. It was not a big ship, so there was not much to explore. There was the cockpit at the front, where Taiho flew the ship and watched the stars. There was the cargo bay in the middle, filled with boxes of machine parts. There was the living area at the back, with a small kitchen, a sleeping room, and the medical room where Lyra had been staying. Lyra spent most of her time in the cockpit, sitting in the second chair next to Taiho. She watched the stars pass by and asked questions about where they were going. What is Colony 12 like? She asked one day. Taiho shrugged. It is a mining colony. About 50,000 people live there. They dig metal out of the ground and send it to other planets. It is not a beautiful place, but it has a good space station. You can find transportation to anywhere in the galaxy from there. Have you been there before? Many times. I deliver cargo there every few months. Do you have friends there? Taiho was quiet for a moment. No, I do not have friends anywhere. Lyra looked at him with her violet eyes. Why not? Because I'm always moving, Taiho said. I never stay in one place long enough to make friends. And I like it that way. Friends are complicated. Complicated how? Taiho did not answer right away. He adjusted some controls on the panel, even though they did not need adjusting. Finally, he said, friends expect things from you. They expect you to be there for them, to help them, to care about them. And when you fail them, when you disappoint them, they leave. It is easier to be alone. No expectations. No disappointments. Lyra was quiet for a long time. Then she said, that sounds very lonely. It is, Taiho admitted. But I am used to it. That night, Lyra asked Taiho to teach her how to play cards. They sat in the small kitchen area. and Taiho showed her a simple game called Go Fish. It was a game he used to play with his daughter when she was little. He had not thought about that in a long time. Lyra learned the rules quickly. She was smart, Taiho realized. Very smart. She remembered everything he told her and never made the same mistake twice. Soon, she was beating him at the game. "You are good at this," Taiho said, looking at his empty hand. Lyra had won 3 games in a row. Lyra smiled. It was the first time Taiho had seen her smile. Her silver skin seemed to glow when she smiled, and her violet eyes sparkled with light. "I like games," she said. "On my planet, we have many games. But they are different from human games. Human games are about luck and chance. Our games are about reading the other person, understanding what they are thinking." "That sounds hard," Taiho said. "It is," Lyra agreed. "But it is also useful. When you can understand what someone is thinking, you can help them better." Taiho dealt the cards again. "Do you miss your planet?" Lyra's smile faded a little. "Yes, I miss my family. I miss my home. But I cannot go back." "Not yet. Why not?" "It is complicated," Lyra said, using Taiho's word from earlier. "There are things I must do first. Important things." Taiho did not ask more questions. He understood having secrets. He had his own. The days passed and Taiho and Lyra fell into a routine. They ate breakfast together in the kitchen. Taiho would make simple food: rice, vegetables, sometimes meat from the ship's storage. Lyra could eat human food, she said, though she preferred the vegetables to the meat. After breakfast, Taiho would check the ship's systems and make sure everything was working. Lyra would watch him, asking questions about how the ship worked. She was very interested in human technology. "Your ships are different from ours," she said one day, looking at the engine controls. "Ours are more elegant, but yours are stronger, more powerful. Humans build things to last." "We have to," Taiho said. "Humans are not very strong. We cannot survive in space without our ships and our technology. So we make sure our technology is good." "That is smart," Lyra said. "Other species are born with natural abilities. They can breathe in space or survive extreme temperatures or heal from any wound. Humans have none of these things. But you have built machines that let you do all of these things and more. It is impressive." Taiho had never thought about it that way. To him, human technology was just normal. But hearing Lyra talk about it made him feel a little proud. In the evenings, they would sit in the cockpit and watch the stars. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they just sat in comfortable silence. Taiho found that he liked having Lyra there. She was easy to be around. She did not judge him or ask difficult questions. She just listened. One night, Taiho told her about his daughter. "Her name is Mireille," he said, looking at the photograph near the control panel. "She is 12 years old now. I have not seen her since she was 7. Why not?" Lyra asked softly. Taiho was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Because I was a bad father. I was always working, always flying from one place to another. I missed her birthday parties. I missed her school events. I missed everything important. Her mother, Sujin, asked me to stop, to stay home, to be there for Mireille, but I did not listen. I thought my work was more important. What happened? Sujin left me," Taiho said. "She took Mireille back to Earth. She said Mireille needed a father who was there, not a father who was always among the stars. She was right. Do you ever talk to them?" Taiho shook his head. "I tried, at first. But every time I called, Mireille would cry. She did not understand why I was not coming home. And Sujin, she said it was better if I stayed away. Less confusing for Mireille, so I stopped calling." "That must have been very hard," Lyra said. "It was," Taiho admitted. It is. Every day. I think about her. I wonder what she looks like now. I wonder if she still remembers me. I wonder if she hates me. She does not hate you, Lyra said. Taeho looked at her. How do you know? Because you are her father, Lyra said. Children do not hate their parents. They miss them. They want them to come back. Even when they are angry, even when they are hurt, they still love them. Taeho felt tears in his eyes. He blinked them away quickly. I want to believe that. But I have been gone so long. She probably does not even think about me anymore. She thinks about you every day, Lyra said with strange certainty. I am sure of it. Taeho did not ask how she could be so sure. He just looked back at the stars and tried to believe her. The next day, something strange happened. Taeho was checking the ship's scanner when he noticed something on the screen. A small dot, far behind them, moving in the same direction they were moving. What is that? Lyra asked, looking over his shoulder. I do not know, Taeho said. Another ship, maybe. It is hard to tell at this distance. He watched the dot for a few minutes. It did not come closer, but it did not fall behind either. It just stayed there, following them. Could be a coincidence, Taeho said. Lots of ships travel this route. Yes, Lyra said. It is probably nothing. But Taeho noticed that her voice was tense, and her violet eyes were watching the dot on the screen with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. Lyra, he said, is there something you are not telling me? Lyra looked at him. For a moment, something flickered in her eyes. Fear? Guilt? Taeho could not tell. No, she said. There is nothing. I am just tired. I think I will go rest for a while. She walked out of the cockpit quickly, leaving Taeho alone with his questions. That night, Taeho could not sleep. He lay in his bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the ship following them, thinking about Lyra's strange reaction, thinking about all the things she had not told him. Who was she really? What was she running from? And why did he have the feeling that there was more to her story than she was telling him? He got up and walked quietly through the ship. Everything was dark and silent. He passed the medical room where Lyra was sleeping and stopped at the door. He could hear her voice, very soft, speaking in a language he did not understand. She was talking to someone. Taeho leaned closer to the door, trying to hear. But the words were strange, full of sounds his ears could not make sense of. Then he heard a beep, like a communication device turning off. She was sending messages to someone. Taeho stepped back from the door. His heart was beating fast. Who was she talking to? The pirates who attacked their ship. Someone else? He thought about confronting her, demanding answers. But something stopped him. Maybe it was the way she had looked at him when she talked about his daughter. Maybe it was the kindness in her voice when she told him my race still loved him. Maybe it was the fact that, for the first time in 5 years, he did not feel completely alone. He decided to wait, to watch, to see what happened. Whatever Lyra's secret was, he would find out eventually. And until then, he would keep flying, keep moving, keep pretending that everything was normal. He walked back to his room and lay down in his bed. Sleep did not come for a long time. In the medical room, Lyra sat in the darkness, holding a small device in her hand. It looked like a stone, smooth and black, but it glowed faintly with inner light. She had just sent her report to the Guardians. Target located and engaged, she had told them. The alarm screamed through the ship like a wounded animal. Taeho jumped out of his bed and ran to the cockpit. His heart was pounding. The alarm was the attack warning, the one that meant danger was close. He had heard it many times before, but it never got easier. On the scanner screen, he saw them. 3 ships, coming fast from behind. They were small and quick, built for speed and violence. Pirate ships. No, Taiho whispered. He grabbed the controls and tried to make the silent dream go faster. But it was a cargo ship, heavy and slow. The pirate ships were already gaining on them. Lyra appeared in the cockpit doorway. Her silver face was calm, but her violet eyes were sharp and focused. "What is happening?" she asked. "Pirates," Taiho said. "3 ships. They will catch us in about 10 minutes. Can we fight them?" Taiho laughed bitterly. "This is a cargo ship, not a warship. I have one small gun that can barely scratch their shields. If they want to board us, there is nothing I can do to stop them." Lyra was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Let me help." Taiho looked at her. "Help? How? You are injured. You are not a soldier." "I am stronger than I look," Lyra said before Taiho could respond. The first shot hit their ship. The whole vessel shook, and sparks flew from one of the control panels. Taiho grabbed the controls and tried to turn away, but the pirates were too fast. They surrounded the silent dream, blocking every escape route. A voice came through the radio. It was rough and ugly, like rocks scraping together. "Cargo ship Silent Dream, this is Captain Vex of the Red Blade Pirates. Stop your engines and prepare to be boarded. If you resist, we will destroy you." Taiho's hands were shaking. He had met pirates before, but always from a distance. He had always managed to escape or hide. This time, there was nowhere to run. "What do we do?" he asked, looking at Lyra. Lyra's face had changed. The gentle, soft expression she always wore was gone. In its place was something hard and cold. Her violet eyes seemed to glow brighter. "Open the cargo bay door," she said. "What?" "Trust me," Lyra said. "Open the cargo bay door. Let them come inside. I will handle the rest." "Lyra, there are probably 15 or 20 armed pirates on those ships. They will kill us both." "No," Lyra said. "They will not." She walked out of the cockpit toward the cargo bay. Taiho watched her go, confused and afraid. What was she doing? Had she lost her mind? Another shot hit the ship. The lights flickered and went out for a moment before coming back on. Taiho made a decision. He had no other choice. If they tried to run, the pirates would destroy them. If they surrendered, the pirates would probably kill them anyway after taking everything valuable. Lyra was his only hope. He opened the cargo bay door. The pirate ship connected to the violet, silent dream with a loud crash. Taiho heard boots stomping on metal, voices shouting in rough languages, weapons clicking. He got up from his chair and grabbed the small gun he kept under the control panel. It was not much, but it was better than nothing. He walked toward the cargo bay. When he reached the door, he stopped and stared. The cargo bay was filled with pirates. There were about 15 of them, all different species. Some were tall and thin with gray skin and black eyes. Some were short and wide, covered in thick scales. Some looked almost human, but with extra arms or strange markings on their faces. They all had weapons, big guns that glowed with deadly energy. In the middle of them stood Lyra. She looked small and helpless, surrounded by all those armed men. The pirate captain, a large creature with red skin and sharp teeth, was laughing at her. "This is who you have protecting your ship," he said to Taiho, pointing at Lyra. "A little silver girl? This will be easier than I thought." "Let us go," Lyra said. Her voice was calm. "You do not want to do this." The captain laughed again. "Oh, I very much want to do this. Now, be quiet. Little girl, or I will—" Lyra moved. Taiho had never seen anything move so fast. One moment, Lyra was standing still. The next moment, her hand was through the captain's chest. Through it, Taiho blinked, unable to understand what he was seeing. Lyra's arm had changed. Her silver skin had become hard, like metal armor, and her fingers had become sharp, like knives. She pulled her arm out of the captain's body, and he fell to the ground, dead. The other pirates screamed and raised their weapons. Lyra did not give them a chance to fire. She moved through them like water, like wind, like something that was not alive. Her body twisted and changed as she fought. Her arms became blades. Her legs became springs that launched her across the room. Her silver skin hardened into armor that stopped every shot the pirates fired, and her Tae-ho stood frozen in the doorway, watching the massacre. One pirate tried to run. Lyra jumped over 3 others, landed on his back, and broke his neck with her hands. Another pirate fired at her point blank. The energy bolt bounced off her chest and hit the wall behind her. She grabbed his gun, crushed it in her hand, and then crushed his skull the same way in less than 2 minutes. All 15 pirates were dead. Lyra stood in the middle of the cargo bay, surrounded by bodies. Her silver skin was covered in different colors of blood: blue, green, red, black. Her breath was slow and steady. She did not look tired at all. She turned to face Tae-ho. Her body was still changed. Her arms were still blade-like, her skin still hard like armor. But as Tae-ho watched, she began to change back. The blades softened into fingers. The armor smoothed into skin. Within seconds, she looked like the gentle alien woman he had rescued from the escape pod. Except now Tae-ho knew the truth. She was not gentle. She was not weak. She was something else entirely. Tae-ho, Lyra said softly. I can explain. Tae-ho took a step back. His gun was still in his hand, but he did not raise it. What would be the point? If Lyra wanted to kill him, he would already be dead. What are you? He whispered. Lyra walked toward him slowly, carefully, like she was approaching a frightened animal. I am Vellani, she said. That part was true, but I am not just a regular Vellani. I am a guardian. A guardian, Tae-ho repeated. The word meant nothing to him. Guardians are warriors, Lyra said. We are trained from childhood to protect, to fight, to serve. Our bodies are different from normal Vellani. We can change them, adapt them, make them into weapons when we need to. You lied to me, Tae-ho said. You said your ship was attacked by pirates. You said you were the only survivor. I did lie, Lyra admitted. I'm sorry for that. But I had to. You would not have helped me if you knew what I really was. Why would I not have helped you? Lyra was quiet for a moment. Then she said, because I was never the one who needed saving. Tae-ho's heart went cold. What do you mean? The escape pod, the distress signal, the wounds on my body. It was all planned. I was sent here to find you, Tae-ho, to watch over you, to protect you. Protect me from what? Lyra looked at him with sad eyes. From yourself. Tae-ho did not understand. He shook his head, trying to make sense of her words. I do not need protection, he said. I am just a cargo pilot. I am nobody important. You are important, Lyra said. More important than you know. The Vellani have been watching humanity for a long time. We have seen the good things humans do, and the bad things. We have seen your wars and your kindness, your cruelty and your courage. And we have learned that humans are special. Not because you are the strongest or the smartest, but because you care. I do not understand, Tae-ho said. You stopped your ship for me, Lyra said. You risked your life to enter an asteroid field. You pulled a stranger out of a burning escape pod and treated her wounds. You gave her food and shelter and kindness, even though you knew nothing about her. That is not something most species would do. That is something only humans do. So you were testing me? No, Lyra said. We already knew what kind of person you are. That is why I was sent here. Because the Vellani believe you are worth saving, and you needed to be saved. Tae-ho felt anger rising in his chest. I do not need to be saved. I am fine. You are not fine, Lyra said gently. You have given up on life. You fly through space alone, waiting for something to happen. Waiting for a pirate attack, or an engine failure, or an asteroid collision. You do not care if you live or die. You stopped caring a long time ago. Taiho opened his mouth to argue, but no words came out. Because she was right. Every word she said was true. He had thought about it many times. About flying into a sun. About turning off the life support and going to sleep forever. About ending the pain and the loneliness and the guilt. He had never done it, but the thought was always there, in the back of his mind, like a shadow. How do you know this? He asked, his voice barely a whisper. Because we can sense it, Lyra said. The Villani can feel the pain of others, especially those who have lost hope. Your pain reached us across the stars. It was like a signal, calling out for help. And I answered. Tears were running down Taiho's face. He did not try to stop them. Why? He asked. Why do you care about me? I am nothing. I have nothing. I am just a broken man who failed everyone he ever loved. Lyra stepped closer to him. She reached out and took his hand. Her silver skin was warm and soft. Because every life matters, she said. Because you matter. Because somewhere on Earth, there is a little girl named Mary who still loves her father. And because the universe needs people like you peep. Taiho did not sleep that night. He lay in his bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything Lyra had told him. The words played in his mind over and over again, like a song he could not forget. She had been sent to save him. The escape pod, the wounds, the distress signal, all of it was fake. All of it was part of a plan to make him feel needed, to give him a reason to keep living. Part of him felt angry. He had been manipulated. His kindness had been used against him. Every moment he had spent with Lyra, every conversation, every game of cards, every shared meal, it had all been part of her mission. She was not his friend. She was his handler, but another part of him felt something different. Something that surprised him. Gratitude. Because she was right. He had been dying. Not in his body, but in his soul. Every day, the darkness inside him had grown deeper. Every night, he had thought about ending it all. And if Lyra had not appeared, if she had not given him someone to care for, someone to talk to, someone to save, he did not want to think about what would have happened. When morning came, Taiho got up and went to the cargo bay. Lyra was already there, cleaning up the bodies of the pirates. She had put them in large bags and was carrying them to the airlock. Let me help, Taiho said. Lyra looked at him with surprise. You do not have to. I can do this alone. I know, Taiho said. But I want to help. They worked together in silence, moving the bodies and cleaning the blood from the floor. It was hard work, ugly work, but Taiho did not complain. He needed something to do with his hands. Something to keep his mind busy. When they were finished, Lyra opened the airlock and sent the bags out into space. Taiho watched them drift away, getting smaller and smaller until they disappeared into the darkness. I have questions, Taiho said. I know, Lyra replied. Let us talk. They went to the kitchen and sat across from each other at the small table. Lyra made tea, a simple human drink that she had learned to enjoy during her time on the ship. She poured 2 cups and pushed one toward Taiho. Ask your questions, she said. I will answer everything. Taiho wrapped his hands around the warm cup. Why me? Of all the humans in the galaxy, why did the Villani choose to save me? Lyra was quiet for a moment, collecting her thoughts. The Villani have been watching humanity for a very long time, she said. Thousands of years. We have seen your species grow from small tribes on a single planet to a civilization that spans the stars. We have watched you make mistakes and learn from them. We have seen you hurt each other and heal each other. And we have come to a conclusion. What conclusion? That humanity is the most important species in the galaxy. Taiho almost laughed. That is impossible. Humans are weak. We cannot breathe in space. We cannot heal from serious wounds. We cannot even live for more than 100 years. How can we be the most important? Because of what is in here, Lyra said, touching her chest where a human heart would be. Humans have something that no other species has. You have compassion for strangers. You help people you do not know. You sacrifice yourself for others without expecting anything in return. This is rare. This is precious. This is what makes you special. Other species are kind too, Taiho said. Yes, but their kindness has limits, Lyra said. They are kind to their families, to their friends, to their own species. But humans are kind to everyone. You rescue alien strangers from burning escape pods. You adopt animals that cannot survive without you. You donate money to causes that will never benefit you personally. This is not logical. This is not efficient. But it is beautiful. Taiho looked down at his tea. I do not feel beautiful. I feel broken. That is exactly why we chose you, Lyra said. The Vellani do not look for perfect humans. We look for the ones who are struggling. The ones who have lost their way. The ones who need to be reminded that they matter. But why? Taiho asked. What does it matter to the Vellani if one lonely cargo pilot lives or dies? Lyra leaned forward. Because of what you might do. Because of who you might become. Because every human life has the potential to change the galaxy. She paused, then continued. Let me tell you a story. 300 years ago, a human woman named Park Jian was dying of a disease. She was alone and afraid. A Vellani guardian saved her life. That woman went on to invent the engine technology that allowed humans to travel between stars. Without her, humanity would still be trapped on Earth. I am not going to invent anything, Taiho said. I am just a cargo pilot. You do not know what you will do, Lyra said. None of us know what the future holds. But the Vellani believe that every life is a thread in a great cloth. If one thread breaks, the whole cloth is weakened. Your life is one of those threads, and we will not let it break. Taiho was quiet for a long time. He drank his tea slowly, thinking about Lyra's words. Finally, he said, You said you could feel my pain. That my pain reached across the stars like a signal. How does that work? Lyra touched her forehead. The Vellani have a sense that humans do not have. We can feel the emotions of others, especially strong emotions like grief and despair. When someone is in great pain, their emotions create a kind of wave, like sound, but not sound, like light, but not light. It travels through space, through time, through everything, and the Guardians are trained to hear these waves. So you can read my mind? No, Lyra said quickly. We cannot read thoughts. We can only feel emotions. And we cannot feel them all the time. Only when they are very strong. Your pain was very strong, Taiho. It was one of the loudest signals we had ever received from a human. Taiho felt shame burn in his chest. I did not know. I did not know anyone could hear me. You were not supposed to know, Lyra said gently. That is not how it works. Humans do not broadcast their pain on purpose. It just happens, like breathing. You cannot control it. So all this time, you knew exactly how I was feeling? Yes. And the conversations we had? When I told you about my daughter, about my wife, about my failures, you already knew all of that. I knew you were in pain, Lyra said. I did not know the details. You told me those yourself. And I'm glad you did. It helped you, did it not? To say the words out loud. To share the weight with someone else. Taiho thought about it. She was right. Talking to Lyra had helped. For the first time in years, he had been able to say the things he had kept locked inside. The guilt about Mireille, the regret about Sujin, the loneliness that had become his constant companion. Yes, he admitted. It helped. Lyra smiled. That is good. That is the first step. Admitting that you need help. Admitting that you cannot carry everything alone. What is the next step? The next step is harder, Lyra said. The next step is choosing to live. Taiho felt fear grip his heart. What if I cannot? Lyra reached across the table and took his hand. You can. I have seen you, Taiho. I have seen your kindness, your courage, your strength. You are not as broken as you think you are. The man who flew into an asteroid field to save a stranger, that man wants to live. That man has not given up. He just needs to be reminded of why life is worth living. And why is life worth living? Taiho asked. His voice was shaking. Because of the people who love you, Lyra said. Because of the daughter who still thinks about her father every day. Because of the good you can still do in this universe. Because every sunrise is a miracle, and every breath is a gift, and every moment of kindness makes the darkness a little bit smaller. Tears were falling down Taiho's face. He did not try to hide them. I have wasted so much time, he said. 5 years. I have been running away for 5 years. And for what? What did it accomplish? The time is not wasted if you learn from it, Lyra said. You have learned what happens when you run away. Now you can learn what happens when you run toward something instead. Toward what? Toward your daughter. Toward Earth. Toward the life you left behind. Taiho shook his head. Sujin will not let me see Mireille. She was very clear about that. People change, Lyra said. 5 years is a long time. Sujin might feel differently now. And even if she does not, you can still try. You can still reach out. You can still show Mireille that her father loves her, even if he made mistakes. What if she does not want to see me? Then at least you will have tried. At least you will know that you did everything you could. And that is better than wondering, is it not? Better than spending the rest of your life asking yourself what might have happened if you had been brave enough to go home. Taiho wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. You make it sound so simple. It is simple, Lyra said. It is not easy, but it is simple. You just have to make a choice. You just have to decide that your life is worth living, that your family is worth fighting for, that the future is worth seeing. And if I make that choice, what then? Then I complete my mission, Lyra said. I return to my people and tell them that Yun Taiho is saved, that he has chosen to live, that the thread has not broken. Will I ever see you again? Lyra was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I do not know. The Guardians go where we are needed. There are many people in the galaxy who need saving. But I will never forget you, Taiho. And I hope you will never forget me. Taiho looked at the silver woman across the table. She had saved his life. Not just by killing the pirates, but by being there. By listening. By caring. By showing him that his pain had been heard, even when he thought no one was listening. I will never forget you, he said. I promise. Lyra smiled. Good. Now, finish your tea. We still have a long journey ahead of us. Taiho de Colony 12 appeared on the scanner screen like a small gray dot against the endless black of space. Taiho looked at it and felt his heart beat faster. They had been traveling for 3 weeks. 3 weeks of conversation, of shared meals, of slowly rebuilding something in self that he thought was dead forever. And now, the journey was almost over. We will arrive in about 6 hours, he said. Lyra nodded. She was sitting in the second chair, watching the stars like she always did. But there was something different about her today. She seemed sad, quiet in a way that made Taiho worry. What is wrong? He asked. Nothing is wrong, Lyra said. I am just thinking. About what? Lyra turned to look at him. Her violet eyes were deep and full of emotion. About what happens next, she said. About what you will do when we reach the colony. Taiho had been thinking about this too. He had been thinking about it every day for the past week. And he had finally made a decision. I am going home, he said. Lyra's face lit up with a smile. To Earth? To Earth, Taiho confirmed. To see my daughter. To see my Ray. That is wonderful, Lyra said. That is exactly what you should do. I am scared, Taiho admitted. I do not know what I will say to her. I do not know if she will even want to see me. 5 years is a long time. She was 7 when I left. Now, she is 12. She has probably changed so much. She has changed, Lyra agreed. But so have you. You are not the same man who ran away 5 years ago. You are stronger now, braver, more honest with yourself. Because of you, Taiho said. Lyra shook her head. No, because of you. I just reminded you of what was already there. The strength was always inside you. The love was always there. You just forgot how to see it. Taiho looked at the photograph of my Ray near the control panel. Her smiling face, frozen in time, looking at him with innocent eyes. I used to be afraid of this picture, he said. Every time I looked at it, I felt guilty. I felt like a failure. But now I just see my daughter. And I want to see her again. I want to tell her I am sorry. I want to tell her I love her. Then tell her, Lyra said. Go to Earth, find her. Say the words you have been holding inside for 5 years. It might not fix everything. She might still be angry. She might not forgive you right away. But at least you will have tried. At least you will have shown her that her father cares. Will it be enough? I do not know, Lyra said honestly. But it is a start. And sometimes, a start is all you need. They sat in silence for a while, watching the colony grow larger on the screen. Finally, Taiho spoke again. What about you? What will you do after we arrive? Lyra was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, I will report to my people. I will tell them that my mission was successful. That Yun Taiho has chosen to live. And then I will receive a new mission. Someone else who needs saving. Someone else who has lost hope. Taiho felt a pain in his chest. So this is goodbye. Yes, Lyra said softly. This is goodbye. I do not want you to go, Taiho said. These past weeks, they have been the best weeks of my life. You have given me something I never thought I would have again. Hope, purpose, a reason to wake up in the morning. Lyra reached out and took his hand. Those things were always yours. I just helped you find them again. And now you must learn to hold on to them without me. How? By living, Lyra said. By loving. By being the father your daughter deserves. By being the man you always wanted to be. Taiho squeezed her hand. I will try. I know you will, Lyra said. That is why I am not worried about leaving you. Because I know you are strong enough to stand on your own. The hours passed quickly. Too quickly. Before Taiho knew it, they were approaching Colony 12 space station. The docking instructions came through the radio, and Taiho guided the Silent Dream into its assigned bay. When the ship stopped, there was a moment of stillness. Taiho and Lyra sat in the cockpit, looking at each other, neither one wanting to speak the words that would end their time together. Finally, Lyra stood up. Before I go, she said, I want to give you something. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small object. It was the size of a coin, perfectly round, made of a material that looked like glass but felt warm to the touch. Inside it, there was a faint light, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. This is a guardian stone, Lyra said. Every guardian carries one. It is connected to us, to our life force. As long as I live, the light will pulse. She pressed the stone into Taiho's hand. Why are you giving this to me? He asked. Because I want you to know that I am still out there, Lyra said. Even when I am far away, even when you cannot see me or hear me, I am still alive. I am still thinking of you. And if you ever feel alone, if you ever feel like giving up, I want you to look at this stone and remember that you are not alone. Someone in the universe cares about you. Someone is glad that you are alive. Taiho's eyes filled with tears. He held the stone tightly in his fist, feeling its warmth against his skin. Thank you, he whispered. For everything. Lyra leaned forward and pressed her forehead against his. It was a gesture he had never seen before, but he understood what it meant. It was a goodbye, a blessing, a promise. Be well, Yun Taiho, she said. Live a good life. Love your daughter. Find happiness. And remember, you were never just a broken man who needed saving. You were always a hero. You just did not know it yet. She pulled away and walked toward the door. Lyra, Taiho called out. She stopped and turned back. Will I ever see you again? Lyra smiled. It was the same smile she had given him the first time they played cards together, warm, gentle, full of light. Perhaps, she said. The universe is large, but it is also small. Paths that separate sometimes come together again. I do not know what the future holds, but I know that I will never forget you. And I believe, in my heart, that we will meet again someday. I believe that too, Taiho said. Lyra nodded. Then she walked out of the ship and into the crowded space station. Taiho watched her go, her silver skin and white hair standing out among the crowd of humans and aliens. She did not look back. She just kept walking until she disappeared from view. Taiho sat alone in the cockpit for a long time. The stone in his hand pulsed with soft light. He looked at it, feeling its warmth, and made himself a promise. He would not waste this second chance. 3 months later, Taiho stood outside a small house on Earth. It was in a quiet neighborhood, with trees and grass and blue sky above. He had not seen blue sky in years. He had forgotten how beautiful it was. He was holding a letter in his hand. He had written it himself, choosing each word carefully. It explained everything, where he had been, why he had left, how sorry he was. It was not enough. Words could never be enough. But it was a start. He walked up to the door and knocked. There was a sound of footsteps. The door opened, and there she was, Myray. She was taller now, almost to his shoulder. Her hair was longer, and her face had lost some of its baby softness. But her eyes were exactly the same, dark and bright and full of life. She stared at him for a long moment. Her face showed 100 emotions: surprise, confusion, anger, sadness. And then, quietly, she said one word, "Dad?" Taiho felt tears running down his face. He did not try to stop them. "Yes," he said. "It is me. I came back. I am so sorry it took me so long. I am so sorry for everything. I know I do not deserve your forgiveness. I know I have missed so much. But I am here now. And if you let me, I want to try to be your father again." Myray did not say anything. She just looked at him with those dark eyes, searching his face for something. Taiho did not know what she was looking for. He just stood there, waiting, hoping. And then, slowly, Mai reached out and took his hand. "Come inside," she said. "Mom is at work, but we can talk. We have a lot to talk about." Taiho nodded. He could not speak. The emotions in his chest were too strong for words. He followed his daughter into the house, into the life he had left behind, into the future he had almost thrown away. In his pocket, the Guardian Stone pulsed with gentle light. Somewhere across the galaxy, Lyra felt it. She smiled, knowing that her mission was truly complete. Yun Taiho had been saved. And now, he was saving himself. This was what humans did. They fell down, and they got back up. They made mistakes, and they learned from them. They broke, and they healed. It was not logical. It was not efficient. But it was beautiful. And that was why the Vellani watched over them. That was why they would always watch over them. Because humanity was worth saving. Every single one of them. The end.